Hello, this is Scott, and this is episode 50, very Madden Christmas. This is the first Christmas special. This is the finale of season 1 of Scott the Woz, and this was kind of my first bigger project for Scott the Woz. Season 1 was interesting. It was, throughout 2017, I started everything in January 2017 with the intention of just wanting to do a new video every single week. That was kind of my goal. After the internet and you and a couple other skits after that, I kind of had this genuine, urge to do more video stuff. And throughout 2017, I wanted to make that kind of like my new hobby, because it's always been a part of my life, or at least ever since like 2006 or so. That's when I started really making my own stuff a lot with video. And I kept doing it, and throughout school projects and on my own, and just doing it just out of the love of it. And of course, when I was younger, there was this want for people to see what I was doing. Of course, what I was making was a little too niche, in terms of the only people that were going to ever get anything out of those projects were like my classmates at school, and even then a lot of them didn't get much out of them. So I kind of just kept it to a school project only situation, where I was like, okay, I love making these videos, but I'm gonna pretty much only make them when I'm assigned to do it. And when I'm assigned to do it, I'm going all out, and we're gonna do something fun. But then 2016, I tried doing, the internet and you, and then like the vape shop vlog and Alpha Menor JavaScript, and I rediscovered how much, I just love doing these just to do them. I kind of figured out how to make videos that anybody could enjoy, not just my friends. And I've always had the urge to do a video game show, just talking about video games, because that was like the majority of the videos that I watched when I was younger, is just the narrative or essay style videos of just talking about a video game, like reviewing a video game, whether it's good or bad, and having some funny parts in it. Those are always my favorite videos, and those are always the ones that inspired me the most. And in 2017, I really wanted to do it. And so I tried it out, and I held myself to a standard of I'm going to do this every single week. Every single Sunday, you're going to get a new episode of Scott the Woz. And, pretty much nobody watched for a couple months. And then around the latter half of the year is when the channel started to gain a lot more traction. And that was when, more and more eyes were watching. And it just kind of gave me more and more of an urge to end it all on one big season finale type thing. And technically speaking, this could have been, technically speaking also, this was originally in the works around July or something, is when I started conceptualizing a Christmas special for that year. Pretty much, I wanted to do something in season 1. I did a lot of different types of episodes of Scott the Woz, where some of them were just straight up, review style, and some of them were more of I kind of in quotation marks said more creative style, something like the most wanted Smash Brothers stages. I took that as an opportunity to just I'm gonna make my own stages with all different arts and crafts and stuff. And that was always really fun. And I thought maybe for the Christmas special I could learn how to do stop motion and make it an entirely stop motion based Christmas special. And that was the first idea that I had for it. And I realized I could just I could learn to do that, or I could actually work with an animator that knew what they were doing. And that's something that I discovered, where it's just I really love working with people that know what they're doing, in terms of they specialize in a certain thing, whether it's a specific type of animation, music, art, whatever. I can do some of that, but not nearly as well as they can. And in 2017, I wanted to put money into that kind of stuff, and the channel was not making any money whatsoever. It was literally just I was putting money into the animation and music and art and all that stuff for this special in September or so, when like the channel wasn't making any money. It was literally just me taking the money like out of pocket in terms of what I was making at my regular job at the time, which was just at a grocery store. And it was probably like it was at least it was above $500 for the animation, like above 500, less than like 800 maybe. I don't necessarily recall, but that's a lot of money no matter how you look at it. And like I remember telling like some of my friends that, and they were just like, Jesus, dude, like you might be taking this channel a little too seriously. And I just kind of had this feeling of like, this is gonna be the final one of this year. I want to end it on a bang, and if I want to keep doing this next year, so be it. But for the now, like I at least want to see 2017 through, and make and like the channel was growing steadily. I think around July or August it hit like 1,000 subscribers, which was insane for me. Like that was the most subscribers I've ever had before, and it told me at least like I was doing something right, and I was very happy about that. And I wanted to end things on a bang, and I always have loved milestones in shows and movies and all that stuff. Like I love doing the anniversary special or the big 100th episode. And I don't really recall me ever having a show or something, whatever, that I hit like 100 on. I've hit 50 on other things, like in terms of like the other old series that I did when I was younger. The magazine that I made when I was younger in school, like hit over 50 issues, and I remember like the 50th issue was this big spectacular, and it had a cool cover and all that stuff. I love doing that kind of thing, and this was still like, even when it was like smaller, this was the most successful thing that I ever did, and I was very, very happy with it, and I was very, very just I took a lot of pride in this, just wanting to make it as big as I could possibly make it. So I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna put money into, getting a logo done. I talked to Nico, What Up Nico, around August or something, because I wanted a logo for the channel and the series, because it didn't have one. And he got me back like the traditional Scott the Woz logo, you see today. Around that time too, like around August or so. And I kept it off until this final like episode. I wanted to wait until Madden 08 Christmas to unveil the logo. And I wanted cool music. I wanted like ending credits. I think the original intention was to have these credits be have new music credits introduced for this episode that would be the ending theme from there on out. Like when the blue screen comes down. And Mike Stoney did that, who's Balby on YouTube. He does a lot of fantastic like 8-bit covers and remixes of like modern video game music, or video game music that wasn't originally made for 8-bit or 16-bit consoles. And I contacted him, and he was awesome. He's he was fantastic. But I kept the breakout theme, mainly because like it's just a lot of people just like it's kind of like it's weird if a Scott the Woz episode doesn't have that in some form. But he did like the ending credits theme, and then as the channel was like building up viewership and people started watching more, I got a comment from a guy, Alan Riddick, who is fantastic on electric guitar and just with music in general, and he said like, hey, I would love to do music for you. So we messaged back and forth, and I gave him the end credits theme that Mike did, and I said, hey, can you maybe do a remix of this that for the opening credits, something where it's just like the opening credits has that rendition, and it kind of it plays into the end credits theme, which I thought was really great. And all of that combined on top of just like all of the story elements of this episode, which like this episode was definitely in the in the Peach Fuzz era, as I like to call it. But it's still like it has a lot of like it had a lot to it back then, and it still does to some extent. I do feel like I could do this a lot quicker. It wouldn't be nearly as just demanding for me now, just because like I think a lot of the stuff that I do now is very much like I look at stuff that I did in season 4 and onward, season 4 and season 5, and just like the basic episodes in those seasons are sometimes on the same level as a very Madanoid Christmas, and a very Madanoid Christmas killed me. It was so unorganized where it's just like I wrote all the scenes of me at the Vegans Anonymous gathering first, and then like I would pick up shots here and there with like the cops at the station and the scenes with Steel Wool, and then I filmed the very last scenes that I filmed were the ones of me at the desk. It was all over the place, and some scenes weren't even written yet. Like I remember like the scenes of me with the ghost of Madden '08, Louis Castillo, talking to me. That was like written at the very end. Like that was written like probably like 5 hours before the video came out. There's a lot of stuff that like I look back at and I'm just like how the hell did I do this in that amount of time? It's crazy to me. But you see stuff like this and it's just like I just wasn't taking as I wasn't as careful like with like I wasn't as specific with certain scenes. I wasn't as detail oriented as I am now, or at least like I think so. Like I feel like I'm just a lot more I'm very much more so into polishing up the video as much as humanly possible. With this I was just kind of like, screw it, that works, and then I put it up, and there's a lot of charm to it. But like as time goes on, I just kind of keep progressing like my style of production, where I want to make things better and better and better. And then here's the animation, and this was awesome. It was done by Ruth Barrett, who I just was looking up like, hey, stop motion animators that to hire or something, and I found her website, and I loved her style, and I was like, can we do something along the lines of like a Rankin Bass style production, where it's like it's really good, it's awesome, but there's just that kind of level of like cheapness to it, and it was fantastic. This was something that was kind of like a first for a lot of like the Scott the Woz series. This was the first time that we had the blue border shrink, because I realized like probably halfway through season 1 I was like, man, this border is really big. The border is really big and chunky in that first season. And Madanoid Christmas, I was like, okay, I want to keep the blue border because it is such like it is an iconic part of Scott the Woz. It is kind of like that branding element of it, but I need to shrink it down a bit because like this size I think is perfect, where it's just like it genuinely does feel like, hey, like it's not that noticeable, but it's still there, and it's still like this is a Scott the Woz episode. But this was something I was really proud of at the time. It was like the biggest production I ever did. Something along the lines of like The Internet and You could have like maybe said something about that. But, I think with just the amount of different people that worked on this in terms of animators and musicians and all of that, I think it did eclipse The Internet and You. And then eventually, like, I would do a lot more stuff that would eclipse that and eclipse that and eclipse that. And this was something that I wanted to do a milestone episode on. I always knew, like, at least near the beginning, I wanted to do an episode on Dick Vitale's Awesome Baby College Hoops. And I wanted that to be like a milestone episode, kind of like, because it was always on the desk, and I thought like, oh, it would be really fun to do, like, have it on the desk and never really mention it, though eventually, like for like maybe the 100th or 200th episode, I would make a video on it. And Madden '08 was kind of like a very big running gag in season 1, and it's still a running gag, but it comes up a little more sparingly. It's one of those things where it's just like, once you address the running gag, it's hard. It's kind of the same with like Chibi Robo Ziplash. Like, that was a big running gag. And then like after the Chibi Robo Ziplash episode, I haven't mentioned it as much. I still mention it, like Madden 08, but Madden 08 was the main like running gag in season 1, and I thought like, okay, this would be perfect for the 50th episode, and it was a situation where everything lined up, where I did the math and I looked into everything, and it was just like, you know, at the time that, you know, I was planning for, you know, to end things out, you know, like when the Christmas special would be, on this day, and it would be, you know, perfect because it would be right before Christmas, and that would be when the 50th episode would be. And I was like, that would be perfect. It's perfect. You know, it's a great like way to be like, hey, milestone, it's the 50th episode. Let's celebrate with this crazy Christmas special. And then on top of that, you know, it's the end of season 1, and it's just like, you know, it's just like in more ways than one, it was kind of like this big, like, hey, a fun little celebration. And I think everybody's gotten much better since this episode. I'm always very thankful for like my friends who want to, who are totally open to being in these episodes. And I think I've gotten better at writing lines for them, where this one, like, I was giving people like these like long passages of things to say, where like these things were like a paragraph long sometimes. Like I look back at like Joe's lines, like they're a paragraph long, and it's just like, you know, we have to like keep redoing it. Well, where now I'm kind of like, okay, this is better for everybody if we do like a couple sentences and then we cut to somebody else and we cut to somebody else, blah 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 blah. And that just makes things so much better in terms of timing. It's way easier to just act better. And I know like all of our acting isn't great. You know, like I think definitely part of the charm is the fact that like these are YouTube videos, and I like doing stuff that's above what you'd expect of a YouTube video with these specials, but they still need to feel like YouTube videos. They still need to feel like something that is just kind of like, you know, like something that you can look at and you can say, I can do that too. Like I can get my friends together and we can do like, let's do a Christmas special. Let's do a fun Christmas special. And you know, that's really important to me, where I want it to feel like, you know, like, hey, this was just filmed in our garage, you know, the Vegans Anonymous gathering part was just filmed in a garage. And then, you know, the cops, like the police station was just, it was just filmed at like my dad's desk, and then Target, we just filmed that at Target. And it was basically just, you know, a matter of like me getting friends together and just asking like, hey, do you want to be in this video? And they put up with so much stuff. Like it was just like, I'm very thankful that they put up with so much back then, just because so much of this video was just kind of like scrambling and just trying to figure out a day that worked best for all of us, because this was halfway through our sophomore year of college. So it was just something that, you know, like, you know, things were starting to pick up a little bit in terms of our schedules, but everybody was super down and they were all incredibly helpful with all of this. I wanted this to be like the Internet and You, where it was kind of like, hey, everybody, let's get everybody in this. You know, pretty much most of the guys that were involved were the guys that like I ate lunch with, like on campus, and then I would talk and be like, hey, you know, like, do you guys be down to do this? You know, let's meet up after class, and then you know, to get to film some of this stuff. And you know, I think at the time it was definitely like my favorite episode that I did. Of course, like, you know, looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, like that. This is still in that early era where I was still trying to like fully figure things out in terms of like how a Scott the Woz episode operates, how you know, when to cut scenes, when to drag scenes on a bit longer. But at the end of the day, I do feel like, you know, for 2017 Scott the Woz episode, this one had just like so much stuff involved, and I was always really happy with it. And there was just so much that I wanted to just I just wanted to thank everybody for like that first year of just, you know, that's why in the credits there were, you know, I thanked like a lot of people for watching, because like I remembered seeing certain comments and people in the comment section, and I was just really thankful to see like some people support my work when I was just, you know, like a much smaller channel. and I'm still very thankful. Like I never want to. That's why like some people don't like these skit heavy episodes, and at least with Madden Away Christmas, I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like this was an old episode. Like we did not get stuff done, and even now, like I understand. But I want people to see in the videos that we have fun making these, and I want people to see that, and I want them to be inspired to do more stuff, because like if you just make content based on like I'm just gonna make a serious review of Madden 08 in 2017, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna watch that. You want it to be a little wince-inducing. You want to look at it and be like, that wasn't acted well, or it's just like you can tell it's just a bunch of guys just dicking around, and I like that about it. And while I do love videos on YouTube that are much more like, hey, this is a serious analysis of a video game, like, hey, that has its place 100%. And I think that stuff has a bit more value than these silly little sketches. But at the end of the day, I think they do have I do miss this era where it's just like everybody was doing dumb garbage like this. It has a soul to it, I think, and it feels a lot more genuine, and it feels more like, I felt like I was worried that nobody was gonna watch this, because like this was in an era where it's just like, I didn't know if like this was still gonna work. I didn't know if like, hey, a lot more people are watching now, but I don't know if like they're gonna care about this specific video about Madden 08, but people cared, and it's always something I'm gonna be really thankful for. I put a lot into this video at the time, and I remember just being so exhausted by the end of it. And now I look at it, like I said, like I look at it and I just think like, man, I could do this really quickly these days. at least like I could do it within a week. Not specifically like the animation and whatnot, but pretty much anything that I was like on screen stuff is pretty. We've gotten a lot more efficient at this stuff. The entirety of Borderline Forever was done starting at like 4 p.m. on a like a Friday or Saturday, and then we finished late at night, but we still did it like we did it in a day, or like probably like 7-8 hours or so. And that's still a lot, but it's also like that was a big video. that was a lot of stuff to do in just one day. And this took like we were doing this over multiple days, like like one scene per day pretty much, where it's just like the police station scenes were done like a week after the other scenes, and Jared Steel Wool scenes were done separate from everybody else's on another day, and then my scenes were done on the day it came out. But I'm still really proud. I'm also very proud that the episode is an analogy for religion. I've seen some people say it's just like, I think this episode is an analogy for religion, and I like, yeah, it was, it was, and that was like, I was pretty proud of that. Like I'm not gonna act like this is a crazy writing achievement, but it's also like, I like the milestone episodes to have some kind of message in it, no matter if it's kind of dumb or if it's just kind of like, I like them to have some kind of like moral or a message or something like that, where this one is more so like, hey, like just, respect other people, don't try to push, your stuff onto other people, and they won't, and they'll respect you, and you can respect them, and it's all about respect, and just, respecting other people's beliefs and religion, as long as they don't hurt anybody. But that was what I was going for with the writing. It may be a little on the nose, it may not be. I don't know. I haven't watched this episode in a while, but I think it still has a lot of charm, and I'm still very happy with it. I thank everybody, even though like most of the guys in here are still making appearances, still like Joe, Sam, Dominic, Justin, just like they've been so just understanding whenever it comes to these videos, and they I can tell like they want these videos to be just as good as I want these videos to be good. And I'm always thankful for the help, and I'm very thankful for the people that I met making this episode, with Ruth, Ruth has done animation for the channel and multiple other, specifically with It's Awesome Baby. She is always a joy to work with. She is so talented and fantastic. And Nico, I met him not specifically for this episode, but at least like his logo appeared for the first time in this episode, and I have no intention of ever changing it. I think it's great. I think it's the exact kind of logo that I'd want for a show like this. And then Shamir, who did the sad Madenoid, no, not Madenoid, the breakout theme, the sad breakout theme that plays at the very end, because I wanted to incorporate it in some way, and that was also the beginning of like where we started to incorporate breakout via a lot of covers, just kind of like as the leitmotif, as throughout these specials. He was the one that started it, and he's amazing. He's so quick at this kind of stuff. It's just like whenever I need something quick, I message him, and I was just like, hey, would you be down to do something really quick? He did stuff for It's Awesome Baby and the We Wear Chronicles, and then he also did music for the original VHS release of The Internet Knew. He's been a fantastic part of the channel. And then Mike Balby, who did the end credits theme. It's a fantastic, it's amazing. And actually initially I asked Hyper Potions if they wanted to do something for this special. I messaged them via like their website, and their rates were like, I'm not saying they're high for because they make incredibly quality stuff. They were high for me at that time because I didn't have, I couldn't pay for that kind of stuff back then. But it's awesome too, because we eventually worked together on Borderline Forever. So that was another like thing that was like, aha, we close that story. So that's good. I got Hyper Potions for one thing, because I initially I wanted to see if I could get them to do something for this one, but they're super busy, and also like they're like I couldn't afford those kind of rates at that time. And then just having Alan, who also did the stuff for It's Awesome Baby and Bargain Bin Christmas. He's always awesome to work with. He does amazing stuff too. This was kind of the beginning of working with a lot of these people, and I hope either if I still work with them now, or I haven't worked with them in a bit, I want to work with them more in the future. They're all incredible people, and they're so understanding when it comes to me wanting to make a stupid video about Madden 08 and make it a Christmas special. And I'm very thankful for anybody that works with me for this kind of stuff, because I know this stuff is really silly and stupid, but I really love making it. And I'm very Madden 08 Christmas was the first time that I was able to really just like pour everything in one video and just try to make it like, hey, let's do like one big finale kind of thing. And I love doing these kind of videos. I love doing these kind of milestone episodes, and I'm very thankful for the people that helped me out with them. And I can't wait to do even more in the future. And this was the first time that I could say that.